Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. That means once again we have NXT. Now, as you know, we have Ethan Page as our brand new NXT champion. Well, as you know, Trick is trying to find a way to get his title back. However, we do have a championship match. Obafemi defends the North American title against the MVP of Chase U, Duke Hudson. But the question does tell, will Duke be able to defeat the unbeatable? Well, we'll just have to find out. Then we see, of course, the reunion of the Rascals taking on the Gallows Boys. So this is going to be an interesting match, and we got other plenty matches as well. But first things first, ahead of their upcoming event, Summer Sun Princess, Tokyo Super Wrestling has an event in Itabashi Green Hall, where of course we see a series of prelude matches that would lead up to Summer Sun Princess. So we will see what happens until then. And then of course we cap up our episode with of course some news updates. We have a Stardom report of upcoming events and certain things that are happening in the Stardom world. And then of course we're going to be talking about upcoming events from the promotions, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, and including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world. Pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information I'm unable to put on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys alert if anything has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the Naga Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. However, if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have now been said. It's time to rock and roll. So let's begin with our very first review, and this is coming from Yoshi Promotion, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. Right. Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling with Just Before Summer Sun Princess 2024. Now, this initially happened this past Saturday, but it wasn't released until today. As you know, we are coming in close to the annual Summer Sun Princess later on this month. Now, as you know, one of the few things that are announced is the Princess of Princess title will be defended. Miyu Watanabe defends her belt against her tag partner and friend and former champion with her, and of course as a Princess champion, Rika Tatsumi. So we'll get to that in a bit. Now, our very first thing we see is, of course, the Up Up Girls do a little performance. Now, I'm not aware what song they were actually playing because, you know, there's a bunch of songs. Only I know a few of them, but nonetheless, we'll see what happens. We'll just go on from there. Now, our first match, we do have, of course, a Singles match, we have Chika Nanaze taking on the Resident Bird, Kaya Toribami. Now, of course, I haven't been watching that much of Tokyo Super Wrestling, but however, I do know that Nanase is one of the newer girls that officially joined Tokyo Super Wrestling. So by X factor of this match, it would be Kaya Toribami that would pick up this match. She applied a submission that she calls the birdcage that allowed her to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Kira Summer, an Australian who's been wrestling with Tokyo Pro Wrestling, also in the same kind of predicament as Nanase. She faces against Imawari. So Imawari does have a bit more experience than her, so that kind of also falls into the same thing as Kaya Toribami. So you would think that, of course, Summers was meant to lose. I mean, she has won in tag team competition without her actually picking up the win, but she's yet to pick up a very strong singles competition. So we will see that somewhere down the line. But however, Imari actually picked up the win with a single leg crab hold, and just like that, it was over. Now our next match, we have tag team action. We have Toga and Wakana Uehara. They take on Yuki Kamifuki and, of course, the cutest in the world, Maki Ito. So you would think that there's going to be some great tag team. Now, however, we do know that Yuki and Maki have teamed up in the past on various occasions. They were part of the Ito Respect Army in the past. So basically, they get the X factor of this. However, of course, Toga, she is tall, almost as tall as Yuki. You probably would think that would have been the factor there. Nope. Wakana, who is one of the kind of like rising stars in Tokyo Pro Wrestling, but however, she was the one who ended up on the Famouser by Yuki Kamifuku, and just like that, it was over. Now, because it was a very short event, they decided to do a little segment in the middle of their event. They had this thing where they brought in 3 of the injured wrestlers. We have Harunu Neko, Naokakuda, and of course Hyper Misao. Now, all 3 of these ladies were in fact injured, but they decided to give them a little talk segment, and then later they had a little game. First, they had this thing called the Sweet Me Sour. So basically, is where you eat this little delicious, cake or something, but in it there's something that will make you throw up wasabi. But they even had Junkin and of course a lot of things. But however, Hyper Misawa lost all 3 challenges. I thought that was way, way, way funny. So I thought it was great. So moving on. So anyway, our next match, we have a trios match. We have Uda Takami, Shino Suzuki, and Mahiro Kiru take on Haru Kadashiro, and of course she teams up with the current tag champions, Daisy Monkey, Arisu Endo, and Suzumi. So of course, this is going to be very interesting. Well, we know that Kiru will do her little usual apology to what she's about to do. But however, of course, the X Factor is the tag champions. Daisy Monkey, they were going to be they're the real X Factor of this, where one of them was going to pick up the win. It was, of course, Arisu Endo with the Juno Okide onto Suzuki to pick up the win. Now our main event, we have Runa Okuba, Mizuki, Shoko Nakajima, and Rika Tatsumi taking on Pam Harajuku, Raku, Yuko Aino, and of course Miyu Watanabe. Now, as I mentioned before, Miyu Watanabe will be defending her belt against her tag partner Rika Tatsumi. So it was bound to happen. Now we know that Rika Tatsumi has been trying to find a way to get back into the top title consistency, but this looks like it was going to happen. So basically, let me do a quick recap. The last time these two had a singles match for the title belt, Rika Tatsumi at the time was the champion, but she defeated Miyu Watanabe. But many of us as fans always did believe that Miyu Watanabe was going to somehow win to get to that belt, and exactly our dreams came true. But however, there's a lot of things that played out. Of course, like Raku putting people to sleep. Um, Rika Tatsumi being a little dirty. But however, it was Rika Tatsumi with the Dragon Sleeper onto Pam Harajuku that allowed her to pick up the win. So, however, winning this match was not satisfying enough to Rika Tatsumi. She wants to build up the momentum in hopes that she will be the one to walk out as the winner at some Summer Sun Princess. So we will see when that happens. So if there's any other Tokyo Yoshi events, I'll make sure you guys get reviews from that. But as of right now, we are done with this one, and we're moving on to our last review, and that is NXT. Okay, so NXT. It opened up with 6-man tag team action. We have the Rascals versus Gallus. So you ask yourselves now, for all of those who are not in the WWE, who are in the WWE bubble, never seen the Rascals, these guys are fantastic. I had known the Rascals for a long time prior, before they landed in TNA until they split. If those who don't know, the Rascals used to be part of Strong Hearts. Yes, the same group that Shima from Dragon Gate, now with GLEAT, actually formed. So they were the resident guys that they had. So it's fantastic. They're really amazing to watch. So you would think, would this be like the biggest reunion? It kind of did. I enjoyed every moment of it. But however, out of the blue, we did see say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yeah. Now, some of you may question, why the hell is he there? Well, I can think of two guesses. One, support the Rascals, and two, try to talk sense to the Gallus, because Gallus are calling Joe Hendry, who in fact is Scottish like them, he's a faker. And I'll explain to that in a bit. So, however, things didn't go according to plan for the Gallus boys, because it was Wesley that pinned Mark Coffey, and just like that, it happened. However, we did see Gallus later on. Mark Coffey was about to throw a little temper tantrum. Looks more like his blood pressure was about to be shot. Who said his name? Yeah, and he showed up, and he calls him that he's a fake wannabe Scottish, because, well, he is Scottish. He thinks that he's not a real Scottish because he considers himself, he sees guys like Drew McIntyre and themselves are true Scottish. But of course, that's what they don't want him around. He thinks that no one at NXT really cares about them. Well, the fan base love him. They give him the amazing pop already 3 times in a row. So basically, he just, I think a good storyline with this one would say, Gallus would try to tell people he is not Scottish. He's a faker, because the way he looks, the way he dresses. But no one cares about that. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, in our next interview with Kelly, as you know, she talks to the representatives of Chase U, asking how is Duke Hudson prepared for his upcoming match. Well, their hope is that maybe it's a possibility that, of course, well, Obafemi may be unbeatable, but he's still just a man. And of course, Riley Osborne did say if he does beat him, he'll bring back the North American title to Chase U. So we will see what happened until then. Now, as you know, Roxanne Perez defended well against Lola Vice in Heatwave. However, many questions do tell who will be the next person to take her out. Well, she may talk about breaking the records from wrestlers such as Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Sasha Banks, a few others. But however, she is sick and tired about the people that are saying Roxanne's going to lose the belt to either to Julia or Stephanie Vakir. But she thinks they're exaggerating. But the one thing she has not overlooked is the fact she will defend the women's title against Thea Hale Thea Hill, of course, confronted her about it, but Roxanne doesn't completely believe that she is the girl to take her on, but she put her in a Kimura lock. But however, Rich Holland decided to be like the big brother that he is to pull her away. But we did see a little later, of course, Thea Hill was saying, "Why couldn't I break her?" And Rich convinced her, saying, "If you break her arm, you won't get no title shot." And she agrees with him. And of course, prior before Duke Hudson goes to into the main event, they first had a little fun with Rich Holland, try to play games. But they're pumped for, of course, this match in hopes that maybe Duke Hudson can become the North American champion. So we will see what happens until then. Now, another interview with Kelly Kincaid. Of course, she interviews Kalani Jordan, our current women's North American champion. So, however, as you know, she defended her belt against Sol Ruca. So, the real question: who will be the next challengers? We do see, of course, much like Roxanne Perez, she's also looking forward to see if Julia and Stephanie Victor could be the next people to, of course, be worthy challengers. But however, Short and Scary showed up out of nowhere, Wendy Chu. So I wouldn't be surprised if she challenged her for the North American title. So that's my a guess right there. Now Kelly Kincaid does another interview, and I'm sorry guys that there's too many interviews and segments that they put in on this one, but yes, I have to tell you what happened throughout the entire event. Kelly Kincaid talks to Lola Vice. Now, of course, many fans were hoping that Lola Vice could be the one to defeat Roxanne Perez, but that does not stop her there. So she feels she may not have won, but she is going to continue to move forward. However, Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley are looking at her as a rookie, saying that she doesn't belong there, that she needs to go back to the MMA. So she puts herself in a match against Jacy Jayne a little later. So we'll get to that. Now, our next match, we have Javon Evans versus Brooks Jensen. Now, remember what happened last week. Brooks Jensen appeared on NXT to talk about his return, and then all of a sudden he attacked Javon Evans. So basically, this put Josh Briggs in a very tight predicament because he vouched for him. But however, could he try to control his composure? Well, he almost did, but Shawn Spears showed up. So I think right now, the lost soul that he's referring to is Brooks Jensen, so that would be the case. But however, Josh Briggs tried to get in the face of Shawn Spears, but in the process, Jensen completely dropped the ball, lost focus, and then Javon Evans took him out with the very high Alvarez, with a high altitude cutter onto him, and just like that, it was over. And then, of course, Jensen attacked Javon Evans, and Brooks Jensen wasn't going to have it. Like, he's trying to reason with them, but we'll see where that goes. Now, as you know what we saw last week, Damon Kemp has been written off. Well, they did where they put him in a trunk. So, Charlie Dempsey decided to talk to the master. Tony D'Angelo told him what he did, and, you know, he first had a little fun with him, saying that Miles Bourne told him, so he was just joking with him. But the one thing that really, really bothered him is the only witness to the crime, and that is Ren Sinclair. But however, Tony D'Angelo said, "Nope, I'm not doing this. You brought this mess to yourself, so you deal with it." So, but we did see a little later, of course, Ren Sinclair is willing to keep her mouth shut if they allow her to join the group. They said no, but however, I'm going to say that she's going to be a very persistent type of person. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Sarah conducts an interview with Dante Chen. As you know, Dante Chen will be facing against Ethan Page. So you probably ask yourselves, how come he's not facing Trick Williams for a rematch? Well, Ethan Page decided he's not going to give him a rematch. So basically, we did see Trick talking to Ilya Dragunov if he can help him out how to get a rematch. But however, Ilya Dragunov sees this as two different things. So he tells him that he's on his own. He even asked Pete Williams for help, but Pete was like, "Nope, you're on your own, pal." So hopefully Trick can figure something out. Now, as I mentioned before, we had our NXT Championship match. Ethan Page versus Dante Chen. Well, you would think that this match was going to end with Ethan Page. It just did because he applies the Ego's edge, and just like that, it was over. But however, Oro Mensah, who still has a bone to pick with him after he was attacked and attacked Noam Dar, he just came after him. Now, of course, Oro Mensah, I don't think he has any interest in the NXT title. I think his only interest is to give Ethan Page an ass whooping. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our next match, we have Izzy Dame versus Tatum Paxley. So you would think this is going to be a little creepy. It kind of did. But Wendy Chu even showed up as well. I mean, very scary. I don't know what's her intentions. Looks like she may have found a new BFF. And, of course, Wendy Chu didn't do a thing. She just stood there. But it was, of course, Tatum Paxley with the Psycho Trap that allowed her to pick up the win. And then, of course, Wendy Chu gave, of course, the other part of the doll from to Tatum Paxley. So we'll see what that's all about. And then, of course, we see Cedric Alexander with Shadi Diadonis, I think that's his name. They were in the back in NXT making their presence known. Adonis was looking at all the women there, but however, his eyes were set to Jakara Jackson. Oro Mensah goes, no, not again. So they don't need to do this thing like they did with Jakara Jackson and, of course, Trick Williams. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have Lola Vice versus Jacy Jayne. Now, of course, Jasmine Nix was going to be there, but you can guess that this match ended very well for Lola Vice when she gave her a back fist, and just like that, it was over. And then, of course, it was a 3-1 attack against Lola Vice. But luckily, Lola Vice has new allies and friends, also victims of Fallon, Jay-Z, and of course Jasmine. We're talking about Sol Ruca and Carmen Petrovic. So basically now they're gonna stand up against them because, you know, they think people like those three, like Lola Vice, Sol Ruca, and Carmen Petrovic, should not be in NXT. Well, let's see what happens until then. Now, we do see a little fun, interesting segment with Tatum Paxley. She was in her back until she sees Kelani Jordan. She sees her with the Barbie dolls and all that. Of course, Tatum Paxley in the past, we know that she had a thing of taking belts, but looks more like she may be targeting the women's North American belt. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have OTM versus DOC. Now, these guys have been going back and forth with each other on various occasions, either in tag team, singles, however they want. So you could say that this could be, could this be the deciding factor of who wins in this one? I don't know, but I can guess that I don't know if this is going to be a long-term feud between these two teams. But it was the OCs with the Magic Killer on Tulima, allowing themselves to pick up the win. Now, our main event is the North American Championship, Duke Hudson versus Obafemi. I have to say, Duke Hudson really put up an amazing performance against Obafemi, and I think many fans would have loved to see Duke to become champion. But Obafemi, as you know, he's still unbeatable. He did the pop-up powerbomb, and just like that, it was over. However, I can say we can give him an applause for an amazing performance. But this event does not end with that. It ended, of course, with Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Of course, Jensen tried to reason with them, but things are not seems like what it is now. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Jensen allies himself with Shawn Spears, but we will see what happens until then. But until then, we'll see what happens next week. So we'll end things here with NXT and all of other reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, and that is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with the Stardom report. So we got a lot of things that we're going to cover for this one, so bear with me. Now, as you know, they had a press conference. It was later foretold that Ami Sourei Well, apparently she is gonna have to undergo surgery, apparently, to repair her left knee ACL in her left knee. But however, this of course will put her out of action for quite some time. But at the same time, she will miss out on this year's five-star Grand Prix. Now, however, before she announced, before anything else had happened afterwards, Ami Sodi decided to give her position, her spot in the five-star Grand Prix against rookie, well, not against, well, to a rookie team member, Rana Yagami. So basically, she automatically was given the opportunity to be part of the five-star Grand Prix. Now, it's kind of interesting that that happened, but it is. Um, Also on related for injuries in the Stardom report. Unfortunately, Sayaka Kurawa will not be participating in this Friday's event in Shiba and this Sunday's event, no, this Friday in Sendai and of course Sunday in Shiba, due to an injury, and it requires her to get treatment for it. And she'll be back, of course, to participate in the qualifying open spots for the five-star Grand Prix. So we'll see her then. Now, as I mentioned before, Stardom will be in Sendai this coming Friday, and I got the card for that one. Maika will team up with Sayaka Mitani versus Oedo Time members Natsuko Tora and Ruka. Now, remember, Maika did ask Kamitani to be her second. Other matches we have is, of course, Sayuri Inouye, Tam Nakano, and Natsupoi. They take on against Stars core members Mayu Iwatani, Hanan, and Koguma. Then we have, of course, Shuri, Konami, and Saki Kashima. They face against Oedo Time members Momo Watanabe, Tekla, and Fukigen Death. Then we have Mina Shirakawa, Zina, and Wakasuyama EXV taking on Azuki, Saya Ida, and Momo Kogo. Then we have, of course, Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki taking on Yuna Mizumori and Aya Sakura. Then we have a three-way match, Mei Sita, Lady C, and Rian. Then Azumi versus Rana Yagami. So that's for the Sendai event. Now, on the Saturday event, just to friendly remind you guys, three talents for Stardom will be making their way to participate in with Sendai girls, Mina Shirakawa, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. So they will be at the Sendai pit for for Sendai girls. Now Stardom will be, of course, in Shiba for the Sunday event on the 21st. This is the matches. Maika, Suri, and Konami will be facing against Oedo Tai's Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Tekla. Now remember, Maika, Suri, and Konami are champions, so it's ahead of their prelude for that particular match. Then we have, of course, EXV members Mina, Zina, Maika, Mina, Zina, and Waka taking on Sayuri Inouye, Tam Nakano, Aya Sakura, and also versus Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki. Then we have Mayu Iwatani, Azuki Koguma, and Momo Kogo taking on Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, Hina, and Lady C. Then we have, of course, Sayaka Mitani versus Mei Sita versus Natsupoi versus Fukigen Death. Then we have Yuna Mizumori versus Rian. Then finally, Hanan, Saida, and Rana Yagami versus Rina, Raka, and Azusa Inaba. So that's the card for the Chiba event. Now, we do have the card for the 23rd of July in Korakuen Hall. Certain things have been announced. There's the new... we do have the Blue Star A Play A1, like a tournament, the tournament that determines. So this is what they had. I'll pull that up here. As you know, there's like the open spots for the Red Stars and the Blue Stars for that. So we do have, of course, for the Red Stars A, Waka will be facing against Sayaka Kurawa. This is going to be interesting. Yuna Mizumori versus Ruka. Now for the Blue Stars A, we have Miyu Amasaki versus Aya Sakura, and of course Lady C versus Momokogo. So those are for those particular dates. Now for the entirety of the 23rd of July, uh, we do have, of course, um, the Goddesses tag belts. Shuri and Konami will be facing against Momo Watanabe and Tekla. Then we have, of course, Maika Sayurinui, Tem Nakano, and Sei Kamitani taking on Natsuko Tora, Fukigen Death, Natsupoi, and Mei Sita. Then the New Blood tag belts will be defended. Hanan and Saida will defend their belts against Rina, and of course, Azusa Inaba. Mina Shirakawa will team up with Xena and Hanako to take on Starlight Kid, Azumi, and the return Zuzu Suzuki. Then we have, of course, Mayu Iwatani and Azuki and Koguma and Rian. They will be facing against Saki Kashima, Rana Yagami, Tomoka Inaba, and Hina. So basically, those will be in for the 23rd. However, no, never mind, not this one. So yeah, so this is, of course, where Zuzu returns. Let me change the page here on my notes here. Now, as you know, July 27 and 28 will be the rendezvous shows. The 27 will be the Wonder Rendezvous. So this is what we have for that card. We have, of course, the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Sadanui will defend it against Natsupoi. The future belt will be defended. Rina defends the belt against Rani Yagami. Then we have, of course, Tam Nakano versus Sayaka Kurara. A very interesting thing. And then there's, of course, the 5-star play-in, either the red or blue star A. And then, of course, there is a World of Stardom title preliminary match. I don't know what that is. And then, of course, we have Mayu Iwatani versus Hanako. Now, they also mentioned this is the first match for Hanako before she is sent off on her UX excursion. Now, in the following day, this will be, of course, Hanako's last event before she goes on her UX excursion for the month of August. Now, this is now for the 28th event, the World Rendezvous. Mako will defend the red belt against Natsuko Tora. The high speed belt will be defended as well. Kamitani defends it against Mei Sita. We have Mayu Iwatani and Hanan versus Tam Nakano and Natsupoi, while Meltier reunites, reforms. And then, of course, another 5-star play-in, either the red or the blue. Then, of course, Hanako versus Aya Sakura. That match is going to be interesting because, as you know, Hanako and Aya Sakura were part of the same batch together before they ended up in the respective units. So that's pretty much what happened. Now, Lady C was announced that she will be making her way to GTO. She'll be participating on an event on August 2nd called the Milk Dipper. And she'll be facing against a familiar person from her trainee days named Nanaze. Now, if you guys don't know this, this masked wrestler named Nanaze was been part of GTO for about a year or two. But it was later revealed that Nanaze was in the same class as Lady C. She just left quietly. But her watching Lady C wrestle kind of inspired her to take up wrestling again. And here we are again. So Lady C did mention that she kind of hoped they will bump into each other again. And looks like we're going to see what happens. Now, New Blood 14 has been announced, and that will be on the 13th of September. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, for upcoming events by the promotions, we do have GCW's updates. The Now and Forever event on August 2nd, Maki Ito will be facing against John Wayne Murdoch. And then we have, for the Can I Trust You event on the 4th of August at Asbury Park, the Rich and Powerful will be in action against Fuego del Sol and Sam Stackhouse. Now, for the House of Glory updates, we do have, of course, the High Intensity event on the 26th of July. The women's title will be defended. Violet defends her belt against the debuting of Megan Bayne. So, yes. Now, as you know, House of Glory announced another event on September 5th, Chicago. They announced that current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Joe Alonzo will be making his debut. Now, as you know, we already did the Kizun Sugo event. They just announced for the Yabai event on the 18th of August. Miyako Matsumoto will be participating in this one as well. And then, of course, the start of the year for 2025, Mighty Gold announced for their start of the year event on January 3rd called First Dream, and this will take place at Oda Ward Gymnasium. Now, people have been recently talking about would this overlap certain events. I mean, we know that there will be a lot of events taking place during the new year, but we will see what happens until then. Now, for some developments, in Fightful Select, Kalani Jordan revealed that her inspiration was RVD. So I have to say it would make perfect sense because if you guys notice her leg split moonsault, that is something that, of course, that RVD would do. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of his inspirations. So that's good for her. Excellent news coming from Mexico. As you know, Valentina Feroz, who's been recently released from WWE, has reunited with her tag partner, Julissa, who was at the time known as Julissa Leon in NXT. She and her are going to be participating in Chaos events down there. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what they're going to do together. Now, she's been out of action for quite some time in Japan. Moika Aruhi, as you all know, last year she took some time off because she donated a kidney to her sister, and it took time for her to recover. However, at the time, Aruhi was in fact a freelancer, and now it's been told that she is now a fully affiliated with Gambari Pro. So that's excellent news coming from them. Now, the Texas Outlaws, the nephews of Dustin Rhodes, Wyatt and Wayne Rhodes, are in fact the brand new Rhodes Academy Tag Team Champions. So that's good for them. Now, for those who know this, I mentioned this before. For San Diego Comic Con, AEW will be there. So they have a schedule on the 25th of July. So it was now dubbed by a friend of mine as AEW Day. They will have a panel, a signing, and of course, an Adult Swim off-site. Now, I do know that the Adult Swim off-site does say they're going to have a wrestling event down there. It's free for anybody to go. It has no badges. So, if any of my subscribers who are attending Comic-Con, just letting you guys know. So, in case you want to go. And I think that's pretty much it what we have for now. So, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. As you know, we have AEW Dynamite, so anything could happen until then. As you know, we're not that far off from Wembley Stadium. This is going to be amazing. So we'll see what happens until then. If there's any other reviews I'm planning to do, I'll do those as soon as possible. But for now, that's how I'm going to leave things as it is. But I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.